Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Rachel Taylor, who is here on behalf of Breastlink. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you telling your story. And, it's not easy for everybody to do this because kind of rehashing everything that you go through, I'm sure brings up a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. So we totally understand and we definitely appreciate everything that you've been through. So when Paul, who's always so gracious and gets me all these great clients and great guests, you're definitely one of them, and probably the youngest one that I have interviewed on behalf of Breastlink. So before we jump into everything, tell me just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Rachel, and I have been a makeup artist for the last 10 years. And so I've been in the makeup and fashion industry. It's something that's been so close to my heart. I've loved every minute of it. I am a through and through creative. I just turned 30 this year, so I'm 30 and thriving. And you're absolutely right when you say that I typically tend to get that from other people saying, you're the youngest that I've ever talked to, or I can't believe that you had breast cancer. And it was a shock, because I feel like my life was just starting. I feel like my career was headed in a great direction. And then feels like I got hit by a freight train.
Yeah, I would imagine. So how did you actually know?
So I actually found the lump myself. I found the lump myself because I was actually having pain in my breast, and I thought it was just periodic menstrual pains. I ignored it for months and it persisted until it got to a point where the pain almost felt unbearable. And so I decided to take that information to a trusted doctor who was actually my cardiologist because I was having heart issues at the time as well.
Wow.
And so I went in for an appointment with my cardiologist and I opened up to him, and it was I think it was a combination of like fear, but also there's no way it can be anything. And so I'm just going to tell him because, maybe he'll just have me get some scans. And I've known plenty of people that had benign breast tissue, benign cysts, and their breast tissue was dense. And so I really went into it not thinking that it could be anything, but also like my gut told me, you have to tell a medical professional something is off.
Okay. Well, that was smart because obviously people who do wait too long enter in different stages of breast cancer and then it could be too late. And the one thing that they keep touting all the time is prevention.
Absolutely.
Prevention, early detection is always the biggest thing for sure. So smart on your, on yourself to be able to recognize that there was something not right. So that is so smart of you. Tell me, so once they found it, just give me a little brief description of what the process was.
Yeah, so my cardiologist, he actually works right across the street from the breast clinic that I now go to, which is Breastlink. And so he called the doctors over there immediately because I guess he has a personal relationship with some of them. And so he called them and kind of just asked for a favor and said, hey, I have a patient who's my personal patient, and she's very young. And she's having pain in her breast, and I really want her to get some tests done. Is there any way that you guys can squeeze her in this week? And mind you, it was last October. And
Okay.
so women are just, flooding the breast clinics for their annual mammos because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so they managed to squeeze me in that week. I went in and I saw Dr. Tung, and he was the first doctor that I saw in the breast clinic specialist program. And I'm so glad that I saw him because he took me so seriously. He empathized with me. His bedside manners were just beyond most medical professionals that I've encountered. And talking to other young women, they've told me that most doctors didn't take them seriously from the get-go. And I didn't even know that was something that I needed to be worried about. And so I just was so blessed to have met such a wonderful doctor from the start. And so we started with an in-house ultrasound, and he assured me as he was doing the scan and said, it doesn't look like, it's anything, but it is a little bit suspicious. I want to run some more tests. And, that's when the fear just starts driving a little bit deeper because you're thinking, what do you mean? What other tests could you possibly have to run?
Yeah.
So that led to the mammo, and they squeezed me in that day. We did the mammo. came back and said, look, we still don't like what we're seeing, but just to be sure, we want to bring you back in for a biopsy. And now my head is just spinning. Like,
Sure.
this is nuts. And so I went in for that biopsy that week. They took some of the breast tissue. They called me back in about a week. And sure enough, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 29 with
Mhm.
no family history.
Wow. Were you far along or not?
I was at stage 2B, so
Oh,
it's kind
okay.
of on the cusp of stage 2 and 3. So it had actually gone into one of my lymph nodes on my right side.
Wow.
So the right breast is really where I was feeling pain, but it had already traveled into one lymph node. And then they actually detected a small tumor on my left side as well.
Oh boy.
And so my right side was aggressive. The left side was what they call a stage 0, and so it wasn't really going to spread. But the right side is really what they were worried about because it was so aggressive. And so at that point, I believe they said that the tumor must have probably, like from the cellular level, started growing for about 2 years.
Oh wow.
And so
Wow.
to think that, like, it gives me chills even thinking about it, because to think that I was in my late 20s, living my best life, thriving in life, and to think that there was a tumor all along and I had no awareness. You don't really feel anything. It doesn't Your body isn't going to tell you that. It was a little scary.
Right. I mean, yeah, it must have been horrific, especially when you said, you're young and you don't expect these things. And I would say most people your age go, it's not going to happen to me.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen to me. And then when it does, you have to be the voice of your age, which it sounds like you've been doing, for the last year and a half, to be able to let people know that this is something they should be concerned about, even at the
Yes,
age of 29. So that's great that you're
exactly.
getting out there. So what would you say in closing about, what would you advise other women to do your age, or any woman who may suspect anything in this regard?
You know, you're so right when you say that. I feel like it's been like my mantle to speak up and speak out, because this horrific thing happened to me and I don't wish this upon anyone else. I don't wish for any cancer to sit in anyone's body and to possibly metastasize. And so I say, if anything is wrong or different about your body, no matter what part of your body, but especially as we're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, know your breast, check your breast. There's nothing wrong with feeling your body and knowing your body. And if something is wrong, tell a doctor immediately. And if that doctor doesn't take you seriously, especially because you're young, find a new doctor. And I have told young women over and over, that is the most important thing. Do not put it off. Don't ignore it, because it's not, this diagnosis just doesn't discriminate. I never thought in a million years that I would have to go through this. I'm a BRCA gene carrier, but neither of my parents are, and neither is my sister. And so
Mhm.
that's also interesting to see that I am the one that has this. And again, breast cancer just doesn't run in our family. Cancer doesn't run in our family.
Right.
So that just shows you can be at any age, you can be any ethnicity, even men. It's rare, but even men can get breast cancer. So just knowing your body, being aware of what feels different, and when it does. For me, what really helped is talking to a friend first, a trusted friend, and saying, I feel a little bit crazy for telling you this, but
Mm.
I feel like something is wrong with my body and I'm really scared to tell a doctor, and I just need you to empower me this way.
Yeah.
And so having maybe that friend or that support group that can empower you to do it, and then just going and getting it done, because you said it before, it's early detection and prevention. That is the absolute best screening tool.
Right. Well, thank you so much for telling us your story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back after